Hey folks, it's Ben, the man for land again, and we're continuing our fall color series. And in this episode, we're going to focus on probably one of, if not the most iconic species of northern forests, and that's aspen. Aside from birch and sugar maple, aspen is probably one of the most widespread and recognizable species up north. Color-wise, it's yellow. It goes from green to yellow. One of the things that people will confuse it with is white birch because they both have white bark. When the trees are older, you'll notice at the top they'll be white, but if you look down at the bottom, a white birch will still be white and smooth, whereas your aspen will start to get more of a dark gray and brown and get more blocky and rough. So the bottom can look a little bit more like oak bark, red oak bark, and but the top still is white. So we're gonna showcase a little bit of aspen, but there are two species of aspen that we see up north, and that's quaking aspen and big-tooth aspen. Common names in the area are white popple and yellow popple, but there's some pretty significant differences between the two. When you see aspen, you typically see it in a big stand, and that's because managing for aspen requires clear cutting, or a new term that you see a lot now is regeneration cut. And what that means is you take every stem, every tree out of the area, level it all off, cut it all, and what happens is the roots from the aspen that was on site will sprout. The stumps, the roots, it really sprouts from what we call suckers. And so you can have multiple stems connected to the same root system. So it's a pretty cool species. It's a fast growing species that we see up north, very iconic to the Northwoods. Let's take a look at the leaves so you can tell the difference between quaking aspen and big-tooth aspen. All right, so here we have two leaves. This one here is a big-tooth aspen, and this one is quaking aspen. And if you look really close, they both have serrations on the leaves, but a big-tooth aspen will have these, bigger, widespread teeth, these lobes. And then with the quaking aspen, they'll be a lot finer, a lot smaller, just like the leaf itself. So again, quaking, big tooth. And notice too, on the stem of the leaf, it's actually kind of flattened out. See how it's kind of flat? And the reason you see the aspens, when the wind blows, they kind of rock side to side like that, and it sounds like rushing water, is because of that stem that's flat, and that's what gives you that waving motion when it's on the tree during the wind. So that'll wrap up our segment about aspen. Again, we've talked about the differences between big-tooth aspen and quaking aspen, but what about when the leaves fall off? There are some subtle differences in the bark. Your big-tooth aspen tends to have a little bit of a green tint further up, where quaking aspen will have more of the white tint in that white smooth part of the bark. And then in the spring, when the trees really first start budding out, those big-tooth aspen are really gonna pop, kind of green, the younger stems especially. You'll notice driving up and down the road, the snow has melted or is melting. We're getting some warm days, kind of early spring, and you'll really see that big tooth aspen bark really start shining a green color, where quaking aspen stays white. All right, stay tuned, stick with us, and as always, if you have any real estate needs, whether it's residential, waterfront, recreational land, or farms, I'm your guy. I'm Ben the Man for Land with RE/MAX Property Pros.